Hello everyone, welcome back. So till now we have covered basic of IBM ACE. We have created a simple message flow. We have created the integration server. We have created the integration node. We have created an independent integration server, and I hope you have a better understanding on IBM ACE. So from point of view of basic understanding on ACE, we have covered pretty much thing. Okay. So before going to the deep dive on the ACE, each component of ACE like that, each connectors and each toolbox. So I want to go through the ESQL part. So the upcoming few lectures will be on the ESQL things. First, we are going to cover the all ESQL's part. Once we are done with the ESQL, then we are going to move forward with the further connectors and error handling, these all things, monitoring these all things in detail. Okay, so let's first understand the ESQLs. So when talking about the ESQL, it is known as extended structured query language. ESQL is a programming language defined by IBM to define and manipulate the data within the message flow. So the mostly the design is present in the message flow, and in message flow in we write the coding, right? ESQL coding. So ESQL is a extended version of SQL. So initially SQL was released, and SQL is also called as a relational database because it is related to database, and IBM has just extended this SQL to make use of programming things, and they renamed it as a extended SQL structured language, structured query language, and we called as a ESQLs. So it is the extended version of SQL and used within the message and database content to define the behavior of node in the message flow. These all things you know already. And ESQL is stored in the .esql file. So whatever the thing we write the coding, and the file extension for the ESQL is .esql. Okay. ACE provides the following built-in nodes like the compute node, database node, filter node, mapping node, where ESQL can be used to manipulate the database. So if I will explain you again, let me open the one message flow. Okay, so this is the message flow. Let me open this one. This is the message flow, and here we used to design, we design our flow, we write our coding, we do everything. So this is the application. Under that we have the message flow, and under that we used to design our applications. So if you see here, we use the MQ input node. Here lots of compute node, we use an MQ output node. So in MQ output node, these are called connectors. So we don't code here, we just use the property feature to write some properties of the MQ things. We mainly mention here the properties things. Okay, but in compute node, if you go, we write here the ESQL coding. So here we used to here mainly we write ESQL's coding. Okay, you can see I have written few lines of coding also. Okay, so this is called the ESQL, and if you see here the dot extension is .esql, you can see. And if you can see from here also, there is different module created here, and under that module, if you see here, you can see the file with the .esqls. So that's the thing written here, ki file extension for the ESQL is the .esql, and the ESQL is stored into the .esqls file. And if you see here, the connectors is divided into two parts. First is the connector part, and the second is the toolbox part. Earlier this thing was mixed up, but from the ACE it has been segregated, and the first part is called the one part is called connector, and the other part is the called toolbox. The connector part we don't code the things. These are the mainly used to connect to the other tools like that. We want to connect the Amazon with AWS, we want to connect the Google Cloud, we want to connect the Azure, we want to connect some database, we want to connect some other system, we lots of system, IBM MQ. So these are mainly used, these all connectors are used to connect different applications. So here we don't code, here we only used to do some configurations like that, okay, in connectors. Now second component is the toolbox. In toolbox, not even the all connectors we used to do coding, but there are many where we use like that compute node is the we used to do coding. Similarly the subflow, in the routing we used to do coding. See, if you talk about routing, in routing filter your node we used to do coding, but route to level we don't need to code something. So there are, it is used to just a level to the route, something like that, okay. So this all thing we will see later, that's not a big question, okay. So not a big deal, okay. So if here from the connectors, these all are connector is used to connect to different application to transfer and exchange data between them. And here the toolbox are the just used to support this application to do some transformation and mapping, okay. So it's depend on the connectors. Out of these all connectors, few of the connectors uses the ESQL for the transformations, and few of them are just supporting to do transformation, okay, and other steps, okay. So that's all about the basic of ESQLs, okay. So here mostly if we use the compute node for the transformation of the using the ESQLs, okay. In our upcoming lecture also we are going to use the compute node for the transformation if any require, okay. And this compute node is seen into the, if you go into transformation, their compute node is there. If you want to do using Java, then you can use the Java compute node, okay. So this is the basic about the ESQLs, okay. Now this is, if we go further in the ESQLs, we are going to define ESQLs part into different sections, and we are going to cover each sections into the detail, okay. First let's understand the ESQL data type. When talking about the ESQL data type, because in every language, either you are learning C, either you are learning Java, or either you are learning any other programming language, first and foremost we used to learn the data type, right? So first learn the data type, ESQL data type, because we are going to cover each and everything. First we are going to do data type, after we are going to do basic transformation, then we are going to do comparison operator, then logical operator. These all things we are going to see in details, because we cannot cover in one lecture everything, right? So this all thing can be covered by part, and at last you are going to do, you will have at least hands-on and experience on the ESQL things, okay, and pretty much good knowledge on the ESQL things, okay. So let's understand the ESQL data type. ESQL total 7 data type for is total 7 ESQL data type present. One is first is called boolean, then data and time, null, numeric, reference, row, and string. So these 7 are the ESQL data type. We will be covering each one of them using the toolkit. For each one of them, I am going to write the codes and show you into the debug mode using the toolkit. So you don't need to worry with that. But before that, I want to explain the definitions and overview of each one of them in detail in the first using the slides, and after that I will be switching to the toolkit and I will be writing some code and I will be showing you, okay. So let's first understand the boolean data type. So when talking about the boolean, it mainly supports the true, false, and unknown. These are the three data type value for the booleans: true, false, unknown. So when the condition is true, then it will return the true boolean data type. When the condition is false, then it will return the false. And when it is not possible to say true and false, then it will basically return as a unknown, okay. So when it is not possible to say it is true and false, then it is called a unknown. The basic way to declare is the declare, boolware, and the boolean. These all things we will see in detail, don't need to worry, okay. Now let's come to second is the date and time. In date and time, mainly we used to declare the date and time. This also includes the GMT time. So there are the few things I have written here. Declare, how can we can declare the date and time. So these are the things. Even we can declare the interval. If when talking about interval, Interval data type is used to represent a period of time. Suppose you want to represent some period like 10 years, 5 years, some interval. If you want to represent, then we use it as a interval data type. It can be used for a various purpose, such as the calculating the time interval between the two events, setting a timer to trigger after a specific interval. Mostly I told you, suppose there is a two times, and if I want to calculate the difference between those two, then we can use the intervals. Mostly I tell you, it is used for the period of time. Okay, so this, and there are you can see how can we declare the date, how can we get the time, how can declare with the GMT time. These all things we can see here. Okay, let's move to the next data type, that is null. This is very important to understand the thing. What's the difference between null and the blank? Okay, when talking about the null is basically is no memory. Suppose if a value null means that the value is unknown, undefined, or the uninitialized. If someone is saying that this data is null, then it means the value for this data is null. It means it is unknown, either it is unknown, undefined, or uninitialized. Okay, null value can arise when you refer to the message field that does not exist. Mostly if there is a logical tree, and there is in logical tree, if there is a field that is does not exist, and if you want to refer that field, then it will basically give you it is unknown or it is null. Okay, or database accessing database column for which no data has been supplied, or use the keyword null supplied to the supplies a null literal value. Okay, so there are three way we can use the null. Either if in case logical tree there is a field that does not exist, then if you initialize that, then it will give you a null value. Or either a database column does not exist, and if you are trying to fetch some value, then it will give you a null. Or either if you are directly you want to supply the null, then you can do like the null. The difference between null is that if someone is saying the null value for there is a x value, if, for x variable null value has been assigned, it means x is taking no memory. But if someone is saying the blank value is assigned to some variable, then it means it is taking some memory. So blank means taking some memory, and null means taking no memory. Okay, so that's the difference between the blank and the null. Okay, so if you can remember, like the null means no memory and the blank means occupying some memory. Okay, so that's the difference between null and the blank. So there are some syntax we can this syntax basically used to delete the field. With this syntax we can define the null value to a field. Okay, similar this thing we can do. Okay, I will explain this thing again detail. Okay, now let's come to the numeric thing. In numeric thing we have the three types of thing: decimal, float, and the integer. Decimal, for a fractional digit we use call as a decimal. For the float, if you are scientific value and very big value, then we called as a float, and for the round of value we called as a integer. So, and this is the syntax we declare the numeric value. Okay, now coming to reference. A reference is act as a pointer. Suppose if you want to store some logical tree, and if you want to store some uh, complex message or complex data types, then you can use the reference. So these are syntax we use to declare inref is a variable, reference data type, and and what you want to store under this variable, that you can write here. So this works as a pointer to point to or refer any simple type or complex type in the logical tree. Okay, so already told you this is used to simple you can understand that this is used to store the logical tree. Okay, now coming to the next data type is the row data type. A row data type is a data type which can contains the name value pair. For example, if you want to store a logical tree in a variable, then declare it as a row data type. Or also if you want to store some record fetched from the database in a variable, then you declare it tuple. So this is similar reference. If I say reference and row data type, both are pretty much similar. If you want to declare some row, if you want to store some logical tree, and if you want to store some value fetched from the database, then you can store under the uh, row data type. Because even in database there are lots of rows are there, right? So if you want to store lots of row under a variable, then you can use the row data type. Or if you want to store some logical tree, then you can use the row data type. And this is some syntax how we can declare row var equal to row. This is how we can declare, and we can further set the value under the row variable. Okay, this all thing we will see in the using the toolkits.for. Last variable is the string data type. In string data type we have the three: bit, blob, and the character. Bit, basically you know that it is used to 0 1 value. We used to store the bit, and if you want to store some hexadecimal value, then if you use blob, and if you want to store some numeric value, then use the characters. That's the thing. Let me again go through the definitions for it. Bit is basically used to represent the binary represent the attribute binary data which is not having the exact number of byte. Any number of digit having 0 1 can be specified. For example, a of bit data can be represented into this kind of data. That's all. Already tell you ki bit is something like that, binary digit, and if any number in 0 1, we can declare using the bit. Okay, and similarly store hexadecimal values. Blob is a binary large object. Similarly, if here is for the small object, but here if you want to store the larger object which basically contains some hexadecimal value, whenever I will receive a message, it try to understand the message structure, not the message content, meaning it. So it try to understand how the message is. If it is the blob message, it will not understand the message structure, and it will just convert the message into hexadecimal value, and this is how we can declare. Okay, so that's the different thing it is saying. It is saying that blob is the only one format that is in the MQ input node is by default. Okay, and why we keep as a blob? Because if blob is only one format where we do not see which format the source is saying, so what source is sending. If source is sending in any format, if you have selected as a parsing as a blob, then it will accept all format and it will convert into hexadecimal value. Okay, this is saying from here. If you see here in the MQ input node, here we have selected as a MQ parsing as a XML and SC. But if you select here as a blob, if you select this here as a blob, then it will parse all data type. So if that's the thing it is saying, if you select the input parsing as a blob, so it will not check which parsing need to parse, and it will parse the all message. Okay, similarly the character used to alpha, where alpha numeric, either it is a supports the alphabetical and the letters and the numeric value. Okay, so that's all about the ESQL data type. So again, if I will go through in simple language, boolean is used for the true, false, and unknown. Date and time is used for the date and timing. Okay, null is used for the either declare a null value or used to delete a field. Okay, numeric value is used to represent for numbers like that, the decimal, float, and the integer. Reference is used for the uh, store some reference a logical tree or store a logical tree under a variable. Okay, similarly row is also used to store a logical tree under variable, row variable, or you can say store a uh, database value into the row variable. Okay, string is used to store a string value like that. If you want to explore with the bit, blob, or character, then you can use the string data type. Okay, so that's all about the ESQL's data type. Now let's learn this all using the detail using the toolkit and by seeing into the debug mode. Okay, so before that, so we have taken already this example. If you have gone through the previous lectures, this is the example. Previously also I have taken that the student detail, under student detail, this is the child called student. Under that, these all are the child of the student, and the name is the issue, name, roll number, class, and the marks are the tags, and under that these are the values. Okay, and if you want to access some value, if you input to .xml is the whole message, And if you want to further access the student detail, then input root dot xml student detail. If I want to the value inside the student, then you can use the input root dot xml nsc dot student detail dot student. And further, if I want to fetch this particular value, then I can route like that, input root dot xml nsc dot student detail dot student dot name. Okay, similarly I can fetch using the dot roll dot class dot marks. Okay, so okay, so in this way we can fetch the value. Okay, so that's the thing I am going to use here in this lecture. Okay, now let's go to the ESQL things. Okay, so what I did, I instead of expending some time on the writing the ESQL's code, I just already written the ESQL's code. So to save time, subtiming, and expend much timing on the explaining the thing. Okay, so what I did, I just created application using like that, create new and the application. I just give an application name as a ESQL data type and just click on finish. That we used to create application. And if I will open this application, I have created a simple application using the MQ input route. In MQ input, I've just given the queue name as a queue local in, and in the uh, input parsing I just selected as a XML NSC, and the parsing option I've selected as a complete. Okay, so that if any parsing error happen, then I can see it. Okay, similarly in MQ output, if you go, I have not selected this queue, and if you go to advanced, I just selected as a replay to queue. I can use the queue name, and I can select like that, and I can give here the queue name. That's the thing I can do. But why I'm doing this thing, because this case I have already explained you, right? How can we send a message to a queue when I have selected a destination mode as a queue, and when I am putting the value as a queue, then how message is flowing to the MQ output. Also, I have explained the case where when we are selecting the destination list, and then how the message is following to the different queue when the queue name that is given into the output local environment, right? But I have not explained the case when we are selecting the replay to queue, then how message is following the queue name that we have set it under the replay to queue under the MQMD property. Okay, that's the reason I have selected the property as a replay to queue to explain the things to you, so that I will cover the all three cases. Okay, that's the only thing that I am selecting replay to queue. So here I have selected the replay to queue, and if you go to under the compute node, I have just selected in output root, under output root, in under the MQMD property, under MQMD, under replay to queue, I am just selecting the queue name, this queue I want to send the message. So once this line will be executed, the output property under MQMD, under replay to queue, this queue name will be set, and once it will go to this NQ output node, it will check the property, and in property it is already written as the message need to send to replay to queue, and message is going to be into the this queue only. Okay, so that's the reason I have selected this queue as a replay to queue. Okay, so I want to explore you all the possible cases, so that in future you not got stuck with the anything. Okay, that's the my responsibility. Okay, so that's the simple flow I have created. In the compute node, I have written the all the coding that actually required for the ESQL data type. Okay, and that's all everything I am going to explain you, and then I am going to show you into debug mode. Okay, so let's understand the each one of them. Okay, first what I am doing, and this is the input message I am going to send it to the this MQ input node. Okay, so in this lecture I am taking this as a input message. Okay, so what I am doing, first whatever the input coming message, I'm what set output root is equal to input root. So what are the message and the properties, everything I am just sending from input to output. First, this is the basic thing I am doing. That's you can that's the one small thing I'm doing. So what are the file in set in output root is equal to input root. It means that I'm whatever the value present in the MQMD and the properties and the XML NSC, these all thing I'm transferring from the input to the output root. Okay, now from here ESQL data type start. So first we will learn how we can declare the variable and how we can assign a value to the ESQLs assigning value to a variable. Okay, that's the one important thing before going to the main ESQL data type of topic. Okay, the first we need to know how we can declare a variable in ESQL and how we can assign some value to the variable in ESQL. So there are two way we can assign some we can achieve this thing. There is first method I have written here and the second method I have written here. Using these two method we can achieve the thing, and we can declare variable and we can assign some value to variable. Let's understand the first method. In first method, what we can do, we can write declare. This is the syntax. Actually, this is the syntax. Declare variable name and variable type. Further, we can using the set command. Set command is set syntax is used to set the value. Okay, so using the set variable name and equal to variable value, we can do like that. Okay, so that's you need to remember the thing. Okay, so declare variable name and variable type will declare the variable, and this will set variable name equal to variable value. This will set a value to a variable. Okay, similarly if I have taken example here, what I am doing here, declare, this is the variable name I am taking int var. You can take any name xyz something, that's no problem. Okay, I'm just writing here so that it will relates like that, it's belong to integer something like that. Okay, so declare int var and the type I am declaring as a integer. Okay, further I am just what I am doing, I am just set int var is equal to 10. So I am this value, this variable I am just setting this value as a 10. So what the outcome will be there, the outcome will be there, int var variable will be created and under that 10 value will be going to assign. So that's one way how we can create, how we can declare a variable and how we can assign a value to a variable. So simple syntax is that declare variable name and variable type, and further you can do set variable name is equal to variable value. So in this way you are going to assign a variable value to this variable name. Similarly what I did here, declare int var is the variable name and this is the integer type. Okay, variable type is integer. Okay, similarly what I am doing, I am just setting the value into the int var to the 10 because this is 10 is the integer type. And what is going to happen, this with this variable this value is going to assign. Now let's understand the second method. Instead of writing this in the two line, we can achieve this using the one line. Okay, so what we can write, declare variable name, variable type and the variable value. In same line we can write the variable value, and what is going to happen, this variable name is going to assign this variable value. Okay, so in this way we can achieve the things. Okay, so what is the syntax again, I'm writing declare variable name, variable type and the variable value. And what is going to happen, this variable name is going to assign a value, this variable value. Okay, so let's take example. What I'm doing here, same example I'm writing here, declare int var integer, and this time this value is going to directly write here, and it will give you the same outcome, that is the int var is equal to 10. So it is going to assign a 10 value to the variable int var. Okay, so in these two way we can assign, we can declare a variable and we can assign some value to a variable. Okay, so that's it, this two way you need to remember, because this is going to be very much important in the upcoming classes, and in every perspective you need to use this thing. Okay, so just keep in mind how we can declare a variable and how we can assign a value to variable. The first, either you can declare a variable with this command and with this, and after that we can using the set command you can set the value to a variable. Either you can in the same line we can declare a variable, and after that if you write whatever the value we are going to write, it basically going to assign to a variable. That like here what I did, I am declaring a variable integer type, and after that I am just assigning a value, and this basically going to assign a value 10 value to the int var. Okay, now let's understand the each one of them variable in detail. Okay, So I'm going to cover in the same pattern that here I've written here. The boolean I'm going to date I'm null, numeric, reference, row and string. Okay, the in same pattern I'm going to explain. Okay, so let's understand the first boolean data type. When talking about the boolean data type, it is basically that either true or false or unknown, right? So if you want to declare a boolean data type, then you can write declare boolvar and data type as a boolean, and you can write the value as a true. So what is going to happen? It is going to boolvar is going to assign a value true. Similarly, I if you want to declare a false, I just writing into another way. How can we declare? So we can use a declare boolvar is equal to boolean. With the set command, we can assign a false to the boolvar one. Okay, or either you can write here as a false. It will also work as same. But I want to explain in different perspectives, so I written this in one line and this in the two line. Okay. Similarly, if you want to declare unknowns, then you can again declare and the variable name, that is I'm just writing boolvar2. I'm just, you can write anything, but for me I'm just writing in the same sequence so that it will be easy to understand me. Okay, and this is the boolean data type and the value we can assign as a unknown. Okay, so that's all about the boolean data type. So here we have declared a boolean data type and assigning a value true. Here I just am declaring the boolean data type, and after that I'm assigning a value to the variable as a false. Here I am declaring a boolean data type boolvar2, and I am assigning a value as a unknown. Okay, now understand the let's is the next is the date time data type. Similarly, if you want to declare a date time variable, then we have the syntax like that: declare date time var, just I'm writing variable name and the syntax for the date. Okay, similarly if you want to set the value to the variable, then similar you have to take care of that like that. It will be like that. You have to just first write date, and the date which you want to set you have to write here. You cannot directly assign a value date. Okay, just you have to write here date, and then after that you have to give the date basically which want to set, and the pattern will be YYMMDD. This you need to take care of that, right? Similarly, if you want to declare a time, then you can declare time var, and the time is a data type. And similarly, if you want to set the set variable name and the time and which time you want to assign, you can assign here. Again, it will be pattern will be HH, MM and SS, hour, minute and the second. Okay, similarly you can GMT time, you can declare like that: declare my GMT time and the GMT time. GMT time is the again data type, time data type, and again you can set the value similarly like that: GMT time and the time name. Okay, similarly if you want to declare the timestamp, then you can write declare timestamp and the timestamp data type. Similarly you can write set timestamp is equal to timestamp, and similar way. Okay, similarly you can declare for the my GMT timestamp. Similarly declare my GMT timestamp and my GMT timestamp, and set my GMT timestamp is equal to GMT timestamp, and the value you have to write here. Okay, what you want to assign to this variable. Okay, similarly if you want to declare interval, then what we have to do, this is something you need to take care. Okay, first it is a simple declare variable name and the variable type. Okay, then set variable value, what value you want to set, and here you need to write in this format. This format is the interval, and here you have to write the value, and here you have to write the years. And interval data type can be year, year to month, month, days, days to hour, days to minute, days to second, hour, hour to minutes, hour to second, minutes, and minute to second and second. These all value can be assigned here. Okay, so it is up to you which we want to use, and if you want to explore the more what's the difference between each one of them, you can just go to the IBM documentation and learn the thing. Okay. Now next is the null data type. Okay. If you remember previously what I did, I just whatever the coming to input, I just declare, I just set it to the output. Okay. The currently in output whole message is present, right? In currently output whole message is present under the XML NSC, under XML NSC, right? So if I will declare a null data type, here what I am doing, set output to XML NSC student detail student dot name. This is what is, this is still this output root dot XML NSC dot student detail dot student dot name. Under that value is Risu Tiwari. And if I will directly write here as a null, then it will delete this field, and under that only these three will be going to exist. This field is going to be deleted if you directly assign the value as a null to the name. But if you assign like that, if you write value and is equal to null, then it will assign a null value to the name. And if you directly write like that, then it will assign a blank value to name. So that's the three way how we can assign a, how can we delete the name tag, how we can assign a null value to the name tag, and how we can assign a blank value to the name tag. Okay, so if you directly assign any tag to a null, then it is going to delete this name tag. So if you directly like that name is equal to null, then it is going to, this is going to be deleted from the logical tree, and only 3 is going to be exist. After that, if you directly, if you write like that null is equal to name, and if you write some syntax as a value equal to null, so what is going to happen, this tag will be there in the XML message, but this value will be a null, this value is going to be null. Okay, but if you write like that double it suggests like a quote. Okay, so it will assign a blank value to the name. Okay, so in this way we can declare a null value, we can declare delete a field, and we can declare a blank value. Okay, now let's understand the numeric data type. Numeric data type, you know, the integer and decimal and the float. Okay, so if you want to declare an integer, similarly you can do int var is equal to integer equal to 10. So 10 value will be assigned to this variable. Similarly, declare deci var, you can write any variable name, just I am writing so that it will be easy to remember. Okay, and the variable type decimal and the value that we want to assign to this variable. Similarly, declare float var is the variable name, and the which is variable type as a float, and the value that we want to assign to this variable. Okay, or you can, this thing we can write, if you, this all thing we can, you can, if you want, you can write in the 2 line again. In later, if you want to say, first you want to declare only, then you can write declare int var is equal to integer, and later you can do the set command to set the value as per your requirement. Okay, next is the reference data type. Already told you, reference is used to act as a pointer, and it is used to refer to a logical tree. Okay, suppose here what I am writing, the syntax is like that: declare reference variable, reference data type, variable type, and two, and the logical tree component. Okay, similarly I have written here also: declare reference variable, reference data type, two, and the logical tree that is going to store under this. So what's the outcome came, let's understand this. So if you remember, input root dot xml nsc is the whole XML message, right? Input root and XML nsc is the whole XML message. So if I will declare like that, declare inref reference to this, so what is going to happen, under this variable this whole logical tree is going to store, this whole logical tree is going to store. student detail, student, under that these all value is going to store. Okay, but if I will write like that, declare inref1 and to this one input root dot xml ac dot student detail dot student, this is what, this is still here. So this all value under that presenter, right? So under inref1, under inref1, this all four value is going to store name, roll number, class and the marks, because inref is directly pointing to the student. And so till inref it is the till student it is inref. And if you want to fetch name, then you have to write inref1 dot name, inref1 dot roll, inref1 dot class, inref dot marks. Okay, so till here it is the inref1. And if you want to further fetch the value, then you can directly use the inref1 to this one. Okay, similarly, if you want to set some value using the inref, so what you can do, suppose I want to set some under variable, I want to store whole logical tree. So what I can do, set environment dot variable, under variable we can, if you want to store whole logical tree, then we have the two way. Either I can write here as input root dot excellency, so it will store whole logical tree, or I can directly do the inref, because inref already declare the input root dot excellency, right? Similarly, if I want to uh, under student the name, if you remember, under student the name value here I assigned as a blank, but I want to assign some again Rishu Tiwari value from the input. Okay, so what I can do, in output root dot explanation the student detail dot student dot name, this is still the name tag. Under that I can do inref dot name, inref dot name, it will inref1 dot name is the this name value is going to take, and it is going to assign against then this name. So now the name will be Risutiwari. Okay, so if you are declaring inref till here, and if you want to fetch any one of them value, then you can directly write inref1 dot name. Similarly, if inref1 dot roll number, inref dot 1 dot class, inref1 dot marks, so this is going to assign, this is going to take the value directly. We don't need to write like that in input root dot explanation dot student detail dot student dot name. This all we don't need to read. You don't need to read each time. Just declare the reference variable and just use the variable name. Okay, so this will basically reduce our effort. Okay, similarly, if you want to declare the row data type, then what you have to do, row data type is also similar thing to the reference variable. What the reference variable is doing, it is doing the same job pretty much. Okay, so declare row here is equal to row. So just what I'm doing, I'm just declaring a variable name, that is row here, and which is of the row data type. After that, what I'm doing, set row here is equal to inref. What is inref? Inref is the input row dot explanation. So what is going to happen, this whole logical tree, this whole logical tree is the input root dot explanation. So this whole logical tree is going to store under this variable. So with the help of row data type, we can store the whole logical tree inside it, and further if required we can use using the, suppose I want to further use the value this name, so we can do like that row where, because row where is already storing the logical tree, right? So instead of writing the input to dot explanation, we can do write like that row where dot student detail dot student dot name. Okay, so in this way we can fetch the value with the help of row variable. Okay, now understand the last one is the string data type. In string data type, we know that there are three type of key like that: blob, bit, and the character. Okay, so when talking about the blob is used for the hexadecimal value. So if you want to declare then they can declare blob here is the variable name and the blob is the variable data type. Similarly, if you want to set the value to the blob variable, then you can set blob here x, and under the quote we have to write like this syntax. Okay, this is actually the hexadecimal value of a character, and if you decode it, it will be a Risutiwari. Okay, Let me show you. I just written, that's the reason. If I will if you decode it, convert to the hex to the hex key, you can see this value. Okay, so okay, anyway, that's fine. So why we are using x here? The x in this statement indicates the value being assigned as a hexadecimal literal, which is necessary for the ESQL parser to correctly understand and process the value as a binary data. Because you know, our application, our ESQL is understanding the only 0 1, right, in the form the for data. Okay, so if you don't assign x, so it will understand this as a character. Because anything if you write under the this thing, it will understand as a character. Okay, anything you will write under this thing, it will understand as a character. To segregate that, to segregate the thing that this is not a character, what we have to do, we have to write x. Once you write x, it will basically tell that this value under the this code is the under the is called the hexadecimal thing. Value under this is the hexadecimal. Similarly, for the bit, we can declare using the declare my bit is the variable name, and this is the variable type. And after that, we can set this as, and you can here you can write here we have written the b. The b prefix indicates that the value is the binary string. So b will tell that the value present here is the binary string. Okay, binary digit. Okay, binary string. Okay, similarly for the character, it is simple and straightforward. We can declare char var is the variable name, and this is the variable type. We can use a character, and after that, similarly we can set some value like that. Either here I am just written as Risu Tiwari, so I just assigning the Risu Tiwari as a to this variable. Either you can directly write here also, that's not a problem. And what you can see here, for the character, this thing is very important. You need to, whatever the value writing here, that need to be enclosed under the bracket. Okay, under this quote. Okay, in single quote, under in single quote it should be enclosed. That's very important thing. So this all thing we have seen, how we can declare the boolean, how you can declare date time, how you can declare the null, how you can declare the numeric, how you can declare the reference, how you can declare the row where, how you can declare the string. And at last, what I'm doing, whatever the coming, what are the output coming, that XML message, I'm just going to send to this q local dot out, and this value I'm going to set this into the reply to queue, and in mq output I'm just setting the property as a reply to queue. Okay, now let's see this all thing into the debug mode, and let's see how this is happening. Okay, so let's first, I just save the message flow. Let's create the bar file. So just create the bar file, and just let ESQL data type. Okay, and just click on finish. Just select the application, just click and build and save. And after that, just go to the independent, under bar file you can see the the bar file we created. Let's deploy this to the integration server 1, and just click on finish. You can see deployment has been completed successfully. Now let's launch the debugger, and let's try to send this message. Let's try to send this message, string detail 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to, let's select the input queue is the queue local dot out, and just select the message using the RFC. So I have selected the message as a string detail, this one, and just click on write. Okay, so I have written why it is not coming. Queue local. Okay, just write, I'm writing to the wrong queue. Okay, it is the queue local dot in. Okay, I just select the file again, student detail, just open, see the data and just write. So I just written debugger mode has been launched. Now you can see message came here. Let's go inside the compute node. You can see before that we have the all the properties and MQMD and the XMLNSC, and XMLNSC same message you can see here. Okay, same message you can see here. Now let's go inside the compute node. We are in the compute mode. You can see currently in the output there is nothing present. Once I will be going to run this command, what is going to happen, whole this all properties, MQMD and XMLNSC, this all going to, from the input it is going to be the transfer to this output. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, you can see I just run this and you can see the whole properties, the properties, this one, MQMD and XMLNSC, this all thing has been transferred from the input to the output route. Okay, and if you see here one thing, in the MQMD currently the replay to queue is nothing has been set. So later I am going to, in output I am going to set the replay to queue to send the message to the output. Okay, so that's a different case. Now let's work on the variable thing. So first we are going through the boolean data type. Let's understand each one. So currently if you see there is no variable has been declared, what I'm going to do here, I will be declare a variable bool_var with is the boolean data type, and I am going to assign a value is it true. So let's see. You can see variable bool_var has been created and a variable bool_var has been created with is a boolean data type and assigned a value as it true. Okay. Similarly, what I am going to do here with this command, declare bool_var1, I am going to declare a variable with a variable name with the bool_var1 and with is a boolean data type. So let's run this command. Okay, you can see a variable has been declared and currently no value has been assigned. If I will again further assign the value, you can see the value has been assigned. You can see bool_var1 which is a boolean data type and the value assigned is a false. Okay, so in this way you can see how we are just going line by line and seeing what's the output is coming in the debug mode. Okay, similarly if you after running this syntax, what I'm going to do, I'm just declaring a variable bool_var2 with is a boolean data type and assigning a value as a unknown. So let's see. You can see I'm just, what I did, I just declare a bool_var2 as a boolean data type, but the value I assign as a unknown, and that is showing here, right? Now let's go to the date and time. Boolean is already covered. Let's go to date and time. In data time, what I'm doing, I'm just declaring a variable date var and which is a date data type, and I'm the variable I am assigning the value, this is the date, and this is, you need to remember, before this you need to write date, before this we need to write time, before with this we need to write GMT time, now before this we need to write timestamp. Similarly everywhere we need to write something like that. Okay, well, this is the special case, you need to remember the thing. Okay, now let's see. You can see date var has been declared, variable has been declared, and if I will again further assign the value, you can see the value has been assigned. You can see value date var is of date data type and value assigned is this one, you can see. Okay, similarly if I will assign the value for the time var, and you can see the time var variable has been declared and the value of time has been assigned data type. Okay, similarly we can explore the my GMT time. You can, if you see, my GMT time has been declared, currently no value has been assigned. If I will do set command, it will assign this value. Okay, you can see this value has been assigned. Okay, so it is of GMT time, a time, GMT time is also a time, and we are basically assigning the value. Okay, now let's, similarly for timestamp you can declare the variable and we can assign the value. You can see for the timestamp we can, where we can assigning the value. Okay, similarly for the GMT timestamp, my GMT timestamp, we are just declaring the variable and we are Further with the set command we are assigning the value with the, you can see with the same set command we are assigning value. Okay. Similarly for the interval, if you see here currently you can see for the variable var1 is the variable for the interval that I am assigning declaring variable, and further with the set command we are just setting the value. You can, let's see what is the output coming. You can see this value has been assigned. It is the variable is a variable 1 which is of interval data type, and the value assigned is this one. Okay, so we have covered the variable data type also. Okay, so we have seen how sorry, we have covered the data and time variable data type. Okay, data time data type also. Okay, now let's go to the null data type, the third one. If you see here in the output, if I will do like that, if you see what is written here, set output root dot xml nsc dot student detail dot student dot name is equal to null. Okay, so if you see it, what is this output root dot xml nsc dot student detail dot student dot name, what value is assigned here? It is the Risu Tiwari. Okay, so what, how this value came here? This value came as a result of this command, that is the set output result, output root is equal to input root. So what are the properties present under the input that we inherited to the output? Okay, using this command. But later what I am doing, what I am doing, I am just in the output root under xml nsc, under student detail, under student, under name, I am just assigning a value null. So if we will directly assign a value null, this name tag is going to be delete and only these three tag will be remain. So let's run this command and see. You can see command has been executed, and if I will again open this and to show you, you can see the name tag has been deleted. Okay, so if you want to delete a particular tag, then you can use the null. With the help of, if you directly assign a null, then it is going to delete the tag. You can see here as also. Okay, but how we can assign suppose I want to assign a null, then how we can assign null? Suppose there is a tag, under that there is some value written, but I want to assign a value as a null, not to some other value, then we can use like that. Before that, before this syntax, here you have to write the value. If you write the value, then it will assign this name as a null. So let me again do same thing in same. If I want to assign a null, then how we can do? So just I'm same thing I'm writing here, and again if you see here, this time name tag will be present, but null value has been assigned. You can see the name tag came here, but if I will, you can see here null has been assigned here, right? Okay, so in this way we can declare a null value, we can assign a null value to a tag in the logical tree. Okay, now suppose this, we have seen how we can delete the tag, how we can delete the how we can assign a null value to the tag, but how we can assign a blank value to tag? To assign a blank value, instead of null, we have to write something like that, single quote like that. Okay, so this will assign a null value against this. A null value means it will take some space, and the null value means it will take no memory, and it will not going to take a space, but blank value it will take some memory. Okay, so that's the difference between blank and the null. Okay, so if I will again execute this line, you can see, if I will again open you this one, and if you see here under student detail, name has been still, name tag has been nothing assigned, and if you see here null is not showing, because this time we are assigning a blank value. So blank value, it is something like that, blank is showing. Okay, it is a character type, but it is a blank. Okay, so how this is how we have seen how we can delete a particular tag using the null, how we can assign the null value to a particular tag, and how we can assign a blank value to a particular tag. Okay, now let's understand the numeric data type. In numeric data type, simple, it is simple, straightforward. We are declaring a variable with variable name, and further this is a variable type, and we are assigning a value. Similarly thing we are doing for the decimal and the float. So let's directly run the syntax, and you can see int var has been declared and value 10 has been assigned. Okay, similarly if you see here, deci var has been declared and the value has been assigned. And similarly if you see here again, float var has been assigned and the value has been assigned. The same thing you can see what it did. Okay, we did. Now we are doing simple and straightforward. We are declaring a variable and we are writing a variable type and assigning a value. Okay, for the numeric one. Either you can do the set command further if you want to you don't want to explore in the single line. If you want to declare the value and you are later you want to set some value, then you can do the set command. Okay, now let's move to the reference data type. If you see here, currently there is no variable has been created with inref and inref1, right? If you see here, currently there is no variable with the inref1 and inref2. Okay, with the ref with running this command, I am going to create a variable with inref1, and further I am going to store the whole logical tree. Currently if you see here, these all are the variable, this date var till var1, these all are variable and these are storing one value. These are storing this date var is storing this date, this is storing a sort time, and this is telling it some boolean, this is some storing some decimal. Similarly this one are all are storing only one line of, right? But if you want to store the whole tree, if you want to store this whole tree, then how we can store this? Okay, that's the one question you should came into mind. Okay, so that's whole tree we can either store using the reference variable or we can store using the row variable. Okay, row data type. So what is the syntax saying? That it is syntax saying that declare is the syntax that to declare. What we are declaring? We are declaring a variable with name inref, which is of reference data type, and it is pointing to where it is pointing. It is pointing to input root dot xml nsc. So it is, and an input root xml nsc is the whole xml message. So it is, if I will say from here, it is input root xml nsc is the, this is the input root and this is the xml nsc. The input root xml nsc is the this whole thing. So this whole thing from a student detail, this whole thing is going to store under the inref. Okay, similarly if I will run this syntax, then what will happen? Declare, I am declaring a variable with inref1, which is of reference data type and which is pointing to this input root xml nsc student detail student, input root xml nsc student detail not student. So this whole thing, this whole four, that name, roll number, class, that whole is going to assign under this variable inref1. So under inref, it is under inref, this whole from student detail till here it is going to assign. Under inref1, from this all whole four is going to assign that name, roll number, class and the marks. So that's the difference between the how we can reference the logical tree. So with the help of reference, we can reference the logical tree and we can directly store the logical tree and set the variable. So let's run the syntax and see. Okay, so just run the syntax and you can see here inref variable has been declared, and if you just open this under that and student detail student and this whole, so you can see now under the inref this whole tree has been stored. Student detail, student name, this whole tree has been stored. Further, suppose I want to access the value that is roll number, then how we can access? There are one way to access, that is I can do input root. There is one way to access, that I can do input root dot xml dot student detail dot student and dot roll. There is other way we can do like that. What I can do inref dot student detail dot student and dot roll. Okay, so with the help of reference variable we can also we can refer to the variables. Okay, similarly if I will run the another syntax, another line, you can see another variable has been created inref1, and under that you can see directly these all value has been stored. There is no student details, there is no student tag has been stored, directly these all four value has been stored. Okay, So again, if you want to fetch some roll number, then you can directly use the inref1 dot roll. So it will give the, so our code of line will be decrease. Okay, here what I am going, what I have here, what I am doing to fetch the value here, what I am doing to fetch the roll number here, to fetch the roll number first here I am doing like that. Suppose I want to fetch the roll number, so now here I will be doing input root dot explainancy dot student detail dot student dot roll. Okay, but here if I want to do with the help of inref, then in inref dot student detail dot student dot roll. Okay, but here if I want to do a student roll number, then I can do inref dot roll, it will give the roll number. Okay, so that's basically reduce our the code and the effort with the help of declaring the reference variable. Okay, so in this way we can declare our reference variable and we can use them further for the our uh, decreasing our effort, and it will be easy for referencing the thing. Okay, now let's do explore the other two things. If here what I'm doing under the variable, I'm just storing the whole logical tree. So if I will run this one, you can see under environment, under variable, this whole logical tree I'm storing, and just I'm storing using the inref. Instead of inref, we can do also as a input root on exponency. So this either we can write here as a input root exponency, or I can directly write as a inref. That will also is going to work, because inref is equivalent to this value. You can understand for your knowledge like that, or for the easy things like that. In reference, this is equivalent to this, and in reference this is equivalent to this. Okay, similarly if I want to assign, if you remember currently the name tag is blank right here, let's assign some value from the input. So how can we do like that? If you remember currently, if you see here in the output root, if you see in the output root under student detail, you can see under output root, under explainancy, under student detail, under student, the name tag is blank, right? So let's, I want to again declare the value. I want to like that store the value Risu Tiwari. Okay, so how can we do? We have the two options. Either I can do input root dot xmlnsc, I can assign here as a input root dot xmlnsc dot student detail dot student dot name. So it will assign the Risu Tiwari, and it will fetch value from the this input root. Okay, this input root. But either another way I can do like that, input root dot instead of input root, I can do like that inref dot student detail dot student dot name. It will give the same value as a Risu Tiwari. But we have all more short lines. We have more, we have the another variable that we will also create a more shorter line of code. We can directly write here also as inref1 dot name. That will be also work taking the name also. Okay, so I can write inref1 dot name, and this will take the Risu Tiwari and assign a value name as a Risu Tiwari. Okay, so if I will do here, you can see, if I will again open the output root, you can see name as an assigned, right? Okay, so this is how we can use the reference variable and how we can declare the reference variable. So in simple, if I will say explain you straightforward, declare is, you should declare, we are declaring a variable reference data type, and this is actually pointing to this. So in simple, you can remember this is pointing to this, and this is pointing to this. Okay, and further with this variable we can use this variable to set some value, or we can to access some value. Okay, that we store here. So with the help of reference variable we can store the logical tree, and further we can use as per our requirement. Okay, now let's understand the row data type. Currently if you see here, there is no variable has been declared as a row var. There is no variable present as a row var. Okay, because I have not declared anything. Okay, so if I will declare like that, you can see there is one variable has been declared as a row var. Okay, but if what I am doing here, I am just in the row var, what I am doing here, I am just storing the inref. Inref is currently input root dot exponency. Input root dot exponency is what? Input root exponency is the whole logical tree. Okay. So under the row here, I am just storing the whole logical tree. Okay. So if I will again run this command, you can see here under the row here, you can see the student detail, student and the same. So if you see here, the inref and the row here both is doing same work. If you want to further access the name, then you can do inref dot student detail dot student dot name, and if you want to further access the name, also you can do row here dot student detail dot student dot name. So both are doing pretty much similar type of work. Okay, with the help of row here we can declare the row here with the row data type. And further, if you want to store some logical tree, then we can do set the variable name and the value which want to store. So we can store our logical tree under that. Okay, and further if you want to use the it, then you can use the row here dot student detail dot student dot name or whatever the dot roll number if you want to access the value from. Okay, that you can use it. Okay, so in this way we can use the row here things. Okay, in this way we can declare the row here. In this way we can use the row here. Okay, now let's understand the string data type. String data type basically bit, block and character is there. If you run the move forward, declare blob here is equal to blob. If you see here, currently I have declared a variable which is of the blob. I am currently have declared variable blob here which is a blob data type. Okay, and with this running this command, if I will run this, you can see the value has been assigned. This value has been assigned to the blob. But if you see here, currently it is saying the value assigned is a blob data type. Okay, the main benefit is that using the x is that it will tell the variable that this value that we are sending is a blob. But if I will not write here x, this will take as a string. So it is mandatory to write here as x. Similarly, for the bit, it is mandatory to write here as a b, so that it will indicate that the binary string has been here. The here value present is a binary string. Okay, so if I will write again here, you can see the bit, my bit. Where is my bit? My bit value has been assigned. Okay, and you can see the bit is a bit data type. Okay. Similarly, if I will want to declare the character, you can see that I have declared a variable that is a char var. Where is the char var? You can see. Further, if you want to assign some value, you can see. You can do. I have assigned the value as a my name is Sutivari, and I can write in the single quote. So you can write into the single quote, and you can assign some value as a name. Okay, anything you write. Okay, so that's all about the ESQL data type. Okay, further if you here I just use the set output root mqmd replay to queue, and if you see here in the output root, under output root, under the mqmd, under the replay to queue, there is no value has been assigned. Okay, if whatever the queue name I will write here, in that queue the message is going to write, because in the mqmd properties I just written the property in mqmd property. I just written the property as a in advanced mode. In written the property as a repetitive queue. So it is going to check into the mqmd into mq output, and it is if they will find that it is set as a repetitive queue, then it will going to write the message to that queue. Okay. So let me again execute this command, and if I will once I execute it, you can see again in the mqmd the queue name has been set as a reply to queue. You can see reply to queue has been set here. Okay, once I will do return true, it will move forward to the output. You can see it move forward to the output, and whatever the input, now it will set as a new as a, you can see this value is the output will be set as a input. So that's the one thing you need to remember, the whatever the input sending here, this will be the output for this, and whatever the output coming from here, it will be input for this queue. Okay, that's the one thing you need to remember. the output for this input for this is the output for this, and input from this sorry, whatever the message sending here is the input for this, and whatever the output coming from here is the input for this. Okay, similarly the output was this value, and this is coming input for this MQ output. Okay, so let me terminate the flow and let's see what value coming to the queue. So if I will explore the queue again, if I will see the value, you can see this is the value, same value that is coming. Okay, so in this way we have seen how we have seen each and every line of code about the ESQL data type. Further, if I will take 2 minutes to explore the consolidate the lecture and summarize the lecture. Boolean is used to for the Boolean value that is true, false, or unknown. Date time is used for the date and time. Null is used to delete the field or assign a value null to the field. Now numeric is used for the decimal, float, or integer. Reference is used to store the logical tree or refer to as a, act as a pointer. Row var is used to also store the logical tree, or if you want to store some database value, then you can store it. String is used for the bit, blob, and character. The most common we are going to use is a, because blob and the character bit is very rarely used. Okay, and we have seen the all the things in detail. We have seen how we can declare the blob variable with the, we have seen the how we can declare the time variable. Okay, and assign the value. We have seen how we can delete the field, how we can assign a null to the field, and how we can assign a blank to the field. Similarly, we have declared the numeric value, integer, decimal, and float, and assign a value. Similarly, we have seen how we can reference the, with the help of reference syntax, we have referenced the reference variable to a logical tree. We have referenced this variable to a logical tree also. Okay, and further how we can use the variable that we have referenced for the further use to access the value, we can see here. Okay, similarly with the help of row variable, we have seen how we can declare a row variable and how we can store the logical tree in the row variable, and further we have seen how we can use the value stored in the row variable to access the fields. Okay, similarly we have seen the how we can use the string data type with the help of bold bit, blob, character. In the blob we have seen x syntax is inventory and here b is important, and here in the character the single quote is important. Okay, and further we have seen also at the last that how we can write the message to the queue that is set under the reply to queue under MQMD properties of the. Okay, so in this way we have seen in detail. Okay, so further still if you having the, and last one thing still I want to tell you, we have seen how we can declare the variable. Either we can declare the variable and later if you want to assign some value we can assign it, and either we can do in the one line of the syntax. Okay, so this is all about the ESQL data type, and hope you have enjoyed the this lecture. Again, if you still have any question, any doubt, you can reach out to me, you can send me email. Thank you all.